Good morning, awesome Adventers. My name is Dan Bauer with SERVPRO the Southtowns. If this is your first time tuning in, we've been going live every weekday here in December at 10 a.m. Just trying to keep the positivity up because things have been a struggle a bit this year, and we want to show everybody that there's a lot of good happening here in our community. Today we have a very, very special guest, and I am absolutely ecstatic that he's here. We have Thomas J. Moses, the mayor here in the Village of Hamburg. And I think somebody who exemplifies that spirit of giving and community service that we've been trying to honor these past couple of weeks. For 50 years, that's a 5 and a 0, Mayor Moses has been serving the community here in Hamburg. He was recreation supervisor for 32 years, so he oversaw the development of parks, playgrounds, the swim center. He's been part of the volunteer fire department here for decades. And in 2006, he was voted in as our mayor. So he has had his hands in all sorts of things serving this community for a while. Mayor Moses, I want to thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. It's a real honor to be able to be here.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I want to ask before we get into specifics. I mean, you've been involved in the community for a long time. What inspired you to serve?
Well, basically, it's been instilled in me to give back to the community and to be involved in the community. It's always easy to sit back and criticize that type of thing and say, well, why isn't this being done? Why isn't that being done? Well, I'm a firm believer that you surround yourself with good people and it takes off. And this is where I've been successful because you get people that want to get involved and they stay involved. And if you can keep them active and keep them in a good focus, things happen in a positive way.
Awesome. And I understand, if I'm not mistaken, that spirit of service is kind of run through your entire family. Is that right?
Yes, it has. It's a real honor to have my kids, for example. They give their heart and soul to the community as well. My grandkids, everybody. And that means a lot to me because then you stop and you think, well, they're doing things in the right direction, and hopefully it'll take off and keep going for many, many people, and they can see things happening. But it all stemmed back when I was involved even in school. For example, I was not one to sit back and to let things just happen and let people just do their thing. I was very involved in sports, and I think that was one of the things that got me headed in the right direction. We had good people that were leaders there, good coaching staff, good teachers. That meant a lot. And through the Hamburg school system, looking back, those were the days that really got me excited to keep focused and make things happen and keep things going in the right direction here in the Village of Hamburg and Hamburg as a whole. But going back to my grandchildren and things like that, they're very active in the fire department. My son, he's been involved for many years in the fire department. He's been through as the first aid chief. He's one of the chiefs now. He was one of the chiefs years ago, and he's still wanting to serve and to do things in the right perspective. In fact, we've got about 8 or 9 members of my family that are involved in the fire department. And of course, I take a ribbing for that because they call it, Mosesville, that type of thing. And but it's really great to see them being so dedicated and be there as a volunteer and to make things happen in the right perspective. So again, I really, want to thank them for picking up the slack and to make sure things happen and keep it going in a positive way. And that makes a big difference.
Sure. I think that's awesome. I think a lot of the people that I've been talking to, that spirit of service, that spirit of community that starts at home, that starts with family. And like you said, even sports, when you're around good leaders and good mentors, it rubs off on you. It's very important.
Yep.
I wanted to ask, obviously this has been a challenging year for a lot of people, but I think on the positive side, we're still here. We pulled through. We're doing well. Now there's a kind of a light at the end of the tunnel. I was hoping you could talk about how we pulled through, what specific things folks in the village did to kind of make it through this pandemic and all this weirdness together.
Okay, well, right from day one, when we got the word that, we were going to have to start shutting down things and doing things. That was back in March. And the first day we had Jimmy Butera from the Butera's restaurant gave me a call, and he said, Mary, he says, we've got to come up with something. We just can't be shut down here in the village. We've got to be positive and keep things going. He says, can we organize a meeting here? He said, I'll help organize a meeting at my place today. He said at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and we can get the ball rolling. I said, definitely, let's do that, Jimmy. And I said, I'll be there. So I got there, and he had most of the restaurant people represented there at his place. And we came up with a plan, for example, to have curbside, pickup, that type of thing. And Damon Ayer, who was part of the VBAC, the Village Business Advisory Group, was there along with Eric Adams. And they said, we'll get the signs made up. We'll get things moving in the right direction if this is what the restaurants as a whole would like to do. And our consensus were that that's what we wanted to do, so that things would be moving in a positive way right from day one. And so that's what we started to do. This was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we had a meeting in front of Village Hall, and we had the news media there. We kicked it off and said we would keep it going as long as we could. And it's still in effect at the present time. And it makes a big difference when we have the backing of all the restaurants and the businesses to be involved with this and keep it going in a positive way. Of course, now with the snow coming in, we're concerned about that, but we've been blessed thus far that one side of the street, for example, we would keep open at all times with the shoveling and the snow plowing and stuff like that. Where we have a problem there is that it's a state highway, and we can get it all cleaned up, and the next thing you know, the state comes through with their plows it back. But we've been working with the state on that, and they understand what's going on. So knock on wood, we've been fortunate thus far. We haven't had much snow, but if we do get snow, we're going to have plans into effect to make sure that the one side of the street stays open so that we can keep this curbside going as long as we need it. Basically, we were in a dilemma here because for a period of time, we did have people were able to eat in the restaurants, that type of thing. And now with the new zone set up and everything, we're not able to do that at this point because we're not even, there's outside dining. You can have it, but it's too cold for the most part. We do have a couple restaurants that do have the outside heaters on, and occasionally you'll see people sitting outside at the Juicy restaurant here in the Village of Hamburg. You'll be sitting outside, and then also down the street, they have another restaurant where they have a actual like a tent type thing set up where they can go in and eat, only 4 people at a time, but yet it is being done on appointments only. So it's all working out. We just want people to stay patient and to do what they got to do to make this virus stabilize so things get done in a positive way. We got the vaccine coming now. We're working, it'll be a few months before the general public can actually get the vaccine because they're going to be taking care of the healthcare people first, and then the people in the nursing homes, then your fire departments and emergency services and things like that. And we're getting that organized here so that when that day comes, we'll be able to administer the shots and stuff at a central location for your volunteer firemen and police officers and et cetera. But we are working on that. And we do have a good team set up. We have a emergency management person who is Rick Dimple. He's been a volunteer fireman for many, many years, and he was actually the emergency coordinator before me. He was brought in when Dick Hansen was the mayor here in the Village of Hamburg, and has done an outstanding job with us in working with the county and the state when we get things assigned to us. He makes sure that we get the mask and our PPP stuff for the fire department, police department, any hand sanitizers, et cetera. He gets those, make sure we get our fair share along with our town coordinator, and they work very closely and make sure things happen in a positive way. So we're in pretty good shape on that behalf at this point. So we're hoping that we'll have this under control. We can get back to semi-normal in the very near future, but it looks like it's going to be a while yet before a lot of this will take place because of the vaccine. It's going to be months before everything is taken care of. But you figure we've been into this thing almost 9 months already, and it's been very difficult. And some people are getting very impatient, but nevertheless, we've got to stress that we got to keep calm, cool, and collective and do things in a positive way so that it doesn't get too negative out there and you start having a rebellion. You don't want that to happen because then we'll have more problems on our hands. But, we've seen an increase in people with the alcoholism, the overdoses, mental health, all that stuff is very, very consuming during this period of time because people have time on their hands and they don't know which direction to go. And so they turn to other sources. And this is where we get into real problems. Then you have the people that get arguing at home because there's too much time on their hands. They get into domestic violence, that type of thing, domestic calls. Police have to go and intervene there. So they got their hands full. And basically, we try to stay on top of the things. The police department, they stay very involved within the day-to-day operations. We have to stress to make sure you wear your mask. I've got several styles. I've got the one that we give out, these masks here. If anybody needs them, just contact us at Village Hall and we will make sure you get one. You can buy your other mask, that type of thing, to wear those. Then we do have the guys that are out working. They wear masks and an overall true sense too. And so basically there's things that we have to do, and we want to make sure that we keep people safe. Some people don't believe in the mask because they don't feel it's helping. However, you've got to have respect for other people. And this is what we try to instill. If you don't believe in it, well, just respect other people and make sure you do the right thing at the right time. So these are basic things that I think that we have been working on. Our businesses, they need our help to shop locally. They have done things to change things around so there's not large gatherings within their establishments. Rather than having one big sale day, they have many days of sale, and then they spread it out and they can keep the social distancing and things valuable within their stores. So these are things we're working on with our businesses. I don't know, you've probably seen the plaza down there, they've done a great job there, making sure that people are social distancing and things are moving in the right direction. And they've done a lot of remodeling at the Village Square, and things are looking great there. However, we want to make sure that things can continue to stay. So if people can continue to shop local and support those businesses, it's all going to help out and be better for everybody involved. So these are things that I'm asking people just to step back, say, look where we were, look where we are now, and then we've got the vaccine coming, and hopefully things will turn around and we'll be in great shape. But it all goes back to keeping that positive attitude, and that's so important to keep that going in the right fashion. So again, I think the other thing is too, I want to thank SERVPRO for stepping up to the plate in the beginning stages. It was 2 or 3 days after we got underway. Your group called us and said, can we come and do anything for you in regards to disinfecting? And so we said, yes, we would appreciate that. So you stepped up to the plate. You took care of all the Village of Hamburg Fire Department. We have 10 or 11 pieces of equipment. You came in, you sanitized all that. You did all the equipment on the trucks. Our police department, you did all the cars. And to this day, what we do too is we disinfect after every call, wiping it down with the Clorox wipes and stuff like that, just to make sure that we keep things going in a positive way. Same with our police cars. Rather than have our police officers picked up at home with the police cars like they normally do, the police department said, we'll come and we'll do the cars right at Village Hall. Then you don't have to be taking us back and forth. And that's what they've done, and they've instituted that, and it's worked out well. And basically, the police officers come in, they disinfect the car, and then we have it so that each car is not on each shift. They rotate these cars, and so there's cars that are not in service all the time, but they are disinfected before they're put away. Then when they get up and go out in the mornings and whatever, before their shift, they're disinfected again, and it works out well. Knock on wood, we haven't had too many of those people that have been problem with the virus itself. Our Department of Public Works, we've got them coming in at split times, and they do disinfect their vehicles every day, and then upon leaving at the end of the day, they disinfect as well. And we have them separated in 2 different buildings. The sanitation is in one area, and then our regular crews are in another area. So if one person actually gets sick, it doesn't infect the whole fleet of people. So this works out well. But then this goes back to management and positive thinking, and they have worked all this out, and it's worked out well. So knock on wood, we're in pretty good shape at this point, but we want to keep moving in the right direction. With the cold weather here coming, it's a little more difficult. However, we do want to make sure that we keep things going in a positive way. So is there anything else that you think that we have, we've covered a lot of territory?
Yeah.
And I think that we want to make sure that we reach the people and that they understand it's not only for themselves, but it's for other people with their surroundings.
Sure. Yeah, I did want to touch on that. And well, thank you for everything, for all the kind words. I think we were really inspired here at SERVPRO at the beginning of this, because if you remember, March, April, things were really scary and nobody really knew what was going on, how this virus spread, how dangerous it really was. It was just, you were hearing in the news, like, this is happening. And we were really inspired to just come into the police department, the fire department, the first responders, all these people who couldn't, they didn't have the option to call off. They didn't have the option to work from home. They needed to stay out there and protect the community. And we just wanted to find a way to give back. So I appreciate you mentioning that. That was really kind of you. We were happy to be there.
Appreciate all you people have done.
Yeah. What's your message to, because you had mentioned, there are a lot of people out there who are feeling maybe frustrated or isolated by everything that's going on. What's your message to them? How do they pull through this?
Well, basically, if you can stay calm, cool, and collective, that's half the battle. But it's very difficult when you watch the news all the time and there's not real positive things happening on the news. Sometimes you're better off not watching the news so frequently. But basically, if you do need help, don't hesitate to make some phone calls to get some help. There are people out there that can help you and that are willing to do things, that are trained and can guide you in the right direction. So I ask that if you do have a problem, you just make sure you can call your central fire dispatch at that 648-5111, and then they can guide you in the right direction to make sure you get the proper help, and so things don't get out of control. And if you start feeling bad and stuff and get run down, try to think something else and make a phone call and make sure that you can stay in touch with somebody and make sure that things happen in a positive way. If you're hungry and stuff like that, and you don't have food coming in, make phone calls. There's people out there that have food drives and that will get you the food and get you taken care of. Then don't hesitate. Don't think that you're the only one out there that you're asking, and feel that you're big enough that you can actually do things on your own, because sometimes you can't. You've got to take advantage of what's available for you, and don't think it's a downgrade in your system if you need help. Just make sure you pick up that phone and make a phone call. Don't wait.
I think that's awesome. And I think one thing that you had mentioned before is not just the importance of having resources, but the importance of mindset, of staying positive. And I'm curious to know, because you are a very positive guy and you're bringing a lot of positivity here. How did you learn to be positive? Were you always positive? Was there someone or something that really influenced you?
Well, it goes back to, I think, my upbringing. My parents, for example, I started working through Youth Power back in the day when they had that here in the Village of Hamburg. got associated with many people, and that helped me become a better person. Start working at a young age. Basically, I was doing things at 12 and 13 years of age, and I was a junior leader on the playgrounds. Basically, my mentor was Alan Greenfield. Back in his day, he kept me focused and kept me thinking in a positive way. I was negative at sometimes. In fact, basically, I can thank my wife for a lot of this stuff too, because if I get negative, she'll say, "You're not looking things at the right way. You got to start thinking more in a positive way," because it's always easy to go negative and say things that don't make sense at times. And when you don't start making sense, you got a problem. So basically, I think that if you can stay focused and stay positive, and basically that started at a young age. And my mentor was Alan Greenfield, who was my recreation guy. That was back in the early 60s. And he guided me in the right direction. And my parents, they were very good at doing that. And it all worked out. And I want to thank them for what they've done for me. And of course, my parents are both gone, and Alan Greenfield's gone too, but they were very good people. And I had a lot of great coaches in that through Hamburg High School, and they were very instrumental in my upbringing. So it all worked out well.
Right. That actually kind of leads into what I wanted to ask next. And we've touched on some of this already, but I was curious to know, we're coming up on the end of the year. It is the holidays. Who are you grateful for this year? Who really helped to make this year more positive?
Well, I got to give a lot of credit to my wife. She takes the brunt of a lot of things. But yet she's always there. And we've been married for 52 years. And I think that says something there. Of course, there's ups and downs. You got to work at it. Nothing comes easy. And nothing is always right. But if you learn to say yes, dear, and no, dear, you got things going in the right direction. But she puts up with a lot of things that, and I have to use her as my sounding board, because she's always got a good comeback as far as you better think more about this before you actually incorporate it and do certain things. And it means a lot to me when I can go home, and because you just can't forget certain things that are going on, and you can bounce things off and get some good things. And she guides me in the right direction, and that means a lot to me. So I'm very thankful for that.
So I'm getting married next September. You've been married 52 years. What's your advice? What's your secret?
Secret is that you don't keep secrets from one another. You basically work together, make things happen in a positive way, and it's something you got to work at. And you don't say, "This is my night out, this is your night out." These things you've got to work out before you get married. Make sure that everything is a-okay. But it's like anything. It's not easy come, easy go. You got to work at it, and as long as you work at it, and there's no secrets, that type of thing, you're going to be fine. And truthfully, money is a big issue in a lot of cases, for example. And share that before you get married. Share that. Make sure you're headed in the right direction, just so that everything works out. And for the most part, if you're honest with one another, things will work out and be great.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, I that's good advice. It's great advice. And I feel like I should also give my fiance a shout out. I don't know where I would be without her. I'm very thankful for her as well. We kind of got off topic a bit about the village, but I think we covered a lot of ground. If you have any sort of parting words for people, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, right? There's a vaccine, but still a lot of people are feeling a little cooped up, a little frustrated. Businesses are finding ways to adapt, but some of them are still struggling. But we all want to pull together. We all want to get through this, and this time next year, have it totally in our rearview mirror. So it's important to stay positive. What other messages do you have? What's your parting words of wisdom, Mr. Mayor?
Well, I would hope that we can get through this year and say that let's forget about 2020 and make sure that 21 comes in with a good hit in the beginning, and we can keep things going in the right direction. I'm still concerned about businesses being able to keep open, that type of thing. Because if we don't have the stimulus checks coming like they are hoping that will come forward in the very near future, we're going to have some more serious problems. But if these stimulus checks start coming and things are going in the right direction and people still keep finding means and ways to improve and can go online and do certain things, we can get these restaurants and stuff back open and get things back to semi-normal, I think we'll be in good shape. But we can't be negative. We got to say we're going to do it, and let's get her done. So I think that that's the big thing. Let's get it done and work together and keep our heads up.
Awesome. So stay positive, everybody. Stay safe.
Yep.
Remember, there's a whole community around you that can support you if you need support. And we're going to get through this.
That's right.
Well, thank
And
you.
that's
Oh,
a
go
big
ahead.
one. So that's a big one. And if we can stay positive and keep things moving in the right direction, there's nothing will get us down.
Exactly. Well, thank you so
Well, I
much,
want
Mayor
to thank,
Moses. Oh, go ahead.
well,
I'm sorry.
I want to thank you for doing this today, because you get the message out there and people get a better understanding of what's going on. And I think that if you do have a problem, just give me a call. You can call me at Village Hall or call me on my cell phone. My cell phone is up on the website, and don't hesitate to call, because if you do call me on my cell phone, I'll get back to you that very same day. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you everybody for watching. I hope you got something out of this. I hope you stay positive and remember that there's so much good out there. You can just focus on that. You're going to be okay. I want a huge thank you to Mayor Moses for being here. He's not only my mayor, but I now wish he would adopt me as one of his grandchildren, because he is just such a positive and inspiring guy. And I feel really good about our future here. I think we're going to be okay. So thank you so much. This has been SERVPRO's Awesome Advent. Thank you, Mayor Moses. This was awesome.
Okay, and thank you, Dan, and thank you, SERVPRO. Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.